Hello everyone, CryptoEat here. So today we're gonna be just a moment guys, sorry. Hello everyone, CryptoEat here. So today is the 30th of June, the evening. We're at the last 2 hours before the new 1 month candle. So it's actually a very important night. Let us dive in on the market. Small reminder guys, if you have any chart requests, make sure to post them either in the group or in the chat here on YouTube. So first let us take a look at Bitcoin. We've already discussed this yesterday, but it changed how it looks a bit. So again, going back to the 1 month that we already discussed, you can see here that we are going to get a new we're gonna get a new shape here on this MTF, because in a couple of hours we're entering July, and so probably this is gonna show a much stronger fake down, and when that happens it's gonna be much more bullish. So what's gonna happen here is actually that this is going to be looking more like this entry here. Let me just make this thicker so you can see it, and change the color. Yeah, so what's gonna happen here is actually that we're gonna be entering this part here where we are at a potential long entry for the long term. The tricky thing here is because this is the 1 month candle, that timing this is going to be much more difficult than when this is a smaller time frame, because when we're talking about the 1 month candle, it means that intra candle trading, or when we zoom in, we're talking about 1 or 2 or 3 candles even, multiplied by 30 days. So we're talking about something that can manifest or start to play out the way we predict it to play out, either somewhere within say 60 to 90 days. And it doesn't mean that it's gonna take this long. It can actually happen instantly, or it can happen within the range of 60 to 90 days, so anywhere between 0 to 90 days actually. So this is where the zoom in method is going actually to become very handy, because this is how we're going to be trying to time the entry by zooming in and using the precision method. That is a very strong feature of the MTF wave indicator. And in order to do that, we have to first always align this vertical line here so that it hits the peak of the price action, and at the same time it has to hit the start of this wave, because as we defined last time, this is actually now the wave in question on the 30-day time frame, or the 1 month time frame. And now we need to zoom in so that this gray part of the curve shows as a green curve on a much smaller time frame. And when that happens, we get the ability sometime to time a reversal. So what we're actually trying to do here, we're trying to locate the bottom of the gray curve, and to do that we have to zoom in so that the gray curve, this specific gray curve, shows up as a green curve on a different time frame. And on that specific green curve on that specific time frame, we're then gonna time another entry on a gray reversal, and we can repeat this process until we are on a very small time frame. And what this does actually is it gives you higher chance to long the very bottom. And even when you miss, when you use this, it's a high chance that you're simply longing a local bottom, and what this gives you as a trader is at least it should be expected to bounce, even if this is not the local bottom that you're targeting. Even if it bounces, it gives you the ability to move your stop loss to break even. So we are trying to time the entry on many time frames to have us the best precision entry, and this is gonna be the theme of what we're looking at on this in this market until this manifests the way we want it. And this is, as I said, it's gonna take anywhere between 0 to 90 days probably, and so we need to be paying attention to the time frames that fall within the zoom in time frames. So, and as I said before, the current time frames that I'm looking at are between the 3-day and the 1-day. So for example, if you look at the 3-day time frame here and then compare it to this ideal stochastic wave here, you're gonna be seeing that this is very early. So for example, here you have this aligned at the very top, the vertical dotted line, and you see this was a red highlight, and on the ideal stochastic wave reversal concept you can see this is the red highlight here and the start. So we're probably somewhere at the first green highlight, and as you know, this is not necessarily the normal length of any wave. This is the ideal wave. It doesn't have to have 3 highlights or 2 highlights. It's just, it can be much shorter or much longer. So every time a local bottom shows up, it could be the potential local bottom. But when we get this kind of divergence that we have here on the where it says long entry, surely it has a higher probability. So when we time, or when we see a green highlight or a potential local bottom here, the safer thing to do is to zoom in another time. Okay, but before we zoom in another time, let's just check the 2-day and the 1-day, and as you can see here, they are longer and also have the same start like the 3-day. But for example, the 2-day did, but for example the 1-day is showing something different. It is showing here something that looks like one corrective wave that went like this one, corrective wave down, and then corrective wave up, or fifth wave, like a wave down then a wave up, and now we're in a corrective wave again. Okay, so if we go by this scenario here, this means that we are still not done yet, and this means that we should be looking at the next tap down on the 1-day time frame, meaning that we should be looking at the next gray tap down. Okay, so we would want to time the entry somewhere when the gray here does this, and usually this happens either by the look of this current 1-day time frame, this happens either straight away because this now is kind of faking upwards, or it simply will go flat for a while and then does this nice fake down. Okay, so these are the time frames, let's call them the first stage after zooming in from the 1 month, and let's investigate their zoom in time frames afterwards. So for example, now if we start with the 3-day, the next step would be to time to align the last wave, which we are currently investigating, which is this one, or this wave down here. Okay, to try and find the reversal for this wave. So if we now zoom into the, let's say, the 8-hour time frame, which is actually showing that this wave could have either started here, and that's like a wave like a wave 1 for example, and then 2, and then somewhere here 3, now 4, and then 5. Okay, that's one option, or we simply investigate this one simply because it's the last one. So when we do this, this is in a no entry zone. Why is it in a no entry zone? Because it already had this perfect stochastic wave shape. Let me just get you this again so you see it. So what this had here is a pure shape of a stochastic wave reversal. Why? Because it had the beginning and then it had several tap ups with a continuous drop and in a trend, in a very visible trend, because we had this resistance trend line and it lasted for a while. So for example, let's just this one, this continuous drop continued for 20 days, and there you had this this green curve doing this, like this happens here. Okay, and then also we had this fake down that we discussed yesterday, but this fake down had like a delayed effect. It wasn't a strong volatile fake down, so it had this delayed effect where it actually didn't move at first and then it squeezed upwards, and now it broke this support. But since it had this delayed squeeze up, it's not really giving a lot of confidence. So either way, if you're gonna follow the 3-day time frame, let's just write them down. So the first one we had is a combination of the 30-day, or just say 1 month, 3-day, and then 8-hour time frame. Then you would want to set for yourself the alert for the next tap down. So for example, when gray taps down here, you would want to see where it is corresponding in terms of price action for a long entry. So for example, when this taps down while it is retesting this support like this, then probably it's expected to do a push upwards. Another option is simply that this will fail and it's gonna go low to test the lows again and then does this again. So even if this is not gonna work and this is gonna like fail down miserably and then do something like that and then back down, what this is gonna give you is simply a local bottom. Okay, and this local bottom it should be expected to bounce right after that, so you can move your stop loss to break even if you decide to enter this with high leverage, and that's the beauty of using this method. So again, what I'm expecting or what I'm looking for here is a tap down, and this is why I should simply add an alert. And to add this alert, I would simply use the MTF wave stock RSI setting, and then here choose crossing and type 20. Okay, and I'm gonna write myself a message, BTC 1 month, 3-day, 8-hour tap down. So next time when I see this alert, I'm gonna know what I'm looking for. Okay, so that's the first time frame we're looking at, and then we're gonna take a look at the 2-day, which is actually kind of irrelevant here because it has the same start and end like the 3-day, but we're gonna look at it either way. And this one is showing something different, which is that we are probably already in a wave. Like let me just show you one thing quickly, which is showing the second part of the ideal stochastic wave. So here, as you can see, we are somewhere there. We are in a new wave according to the 4-hour, which is the zoom in time frame for the 2-day, and this starts here. okay, and this is the new impulse wave up, or corrective, whatever the count is, but it's a wave up. So this is the wave in question, and this wave here currently is looking like having already gone through this part. We're somewhere here, and it is expected to do another fake down or reverse, whatever. So if you are playing the combination of the 1 month, 2 day, and then 4 hour time frame, then you should be looking for the tap down on the 4 hours. So this is where I'm going to be putting my second alert. So again, I'm gonna add an alert and choose crossing, and then I'm gonna type in here 20, and again I'm gonna write to myself a message, Bitcoin 1 month, 2 day, 4 hour long, or tap down, better. Okay, the next one we'll be looking at is the 1 day, which is the third one actually. And here you can see this is still very early. This is even like we had this beginning at this last wave. We're somewhere here. We just had this first green, and then we're somewhere here, which is the first possible short re-entry. And I'm gonna say two things about this. First, we have to set an alert here when this actually hits again, taps down. So first I'm gonna write to myself that this 20, and then I'm gonna write to myself Bitcoin 30 day, 1 day tap down. Okay, this is only a 2 time frames combo, not a 3 time frames combo, but there's an extension to this time frame, which is actually that this on its own, without analyzing the rest, is in a position where we should be looking for a local top, not a local bottom. Why? Because it's looking different than the rest. So for example, the 3 day or 2 day, it's actually down there, but on the 1 day it's topping, but it's not an ideal one. It's kind of a very late short, but I'm not saying I'm saying it should be investigated as a very late short, but not a short, because we didn't investigate it yet. So the next step would be to zoom into the 3 hour or the 2 hour. So when you do this, what you are going to see here is that this isn't yet in a very good shorting spot, because when you want to do this, you would want to see a fake up on this time frame. So you would want to, give me a second. You would want to see this somewhere to look like that. So you would wanna target the short entry, which is indicated here, and for that you would want to see that green is slightly curving down with it, and this isn't the case. So this is like, if someone wants to short this, it's kind of a risky short. It could work, but it's a risky one. So the next thing here to do is to give me a second, sorry. The next thing to do here is also to set an alert here when this taps down, just to take a look at. And another thing to do is you would want, after it taps down, you need to set an alert that when this taps up for the next possible short. If you were if you wanted to take the risk, then you should need to zoom in another time and simply mark the start of that last wave, and then you should zoom in on the 18 minutes, and here you should want to wait until the gray taps up for a tight stop loss short entry. Okay, and in that case you need to set an alert again, crossing, and here you set it at 80 because we're looking at a tap up, not a tap down, and you should write to yourself Bitcoin, and then here 1 day, 3 hour, 18 minutes, tap up, potential short. Okay, so that's Bitcoin for us. Now let's take a look at a couple of coins we would want to take a look at. So the first thing I do usually is I look at Binance top gainers and top losers, and also then I zoom in on the 1 hour 1 hour list on Binance, and I make like a short list for coins to investigate. So when I do that, just let me show you here. Yeah, when I do that, what stands out is that I already see as the top runners we have BNX, we have CRO, we have RAD and Lista and Anfi. Okay, we also have BB, and on the the top losers we have Losel. I'm writing them down on a note, and we have REI and NTRM. And then I take a look at the 1 hour. The reason for the 1 hour is for me just to spot if a coin is pumping right now, because sometimes you can catch them if you see them in the process, but here we don't have any. Okay, but regardless of that, if you take a look at the top gainers, and that's something I want you to do, and I want you to check the last couple of videos. If you take a look at these top gainers, you're gonna find BNX, ZRO and RAD and Lista. All those four were previously discussed, or not discussed because I was doing the stream silently, but they were previously investigated by me, because these I was trying to look for entries, because I usually always play with the volatile ones, the ones that already pumped hard, because they almost always get a second chance to run again, and it's very nice when you can catch them. So now that we have our list, we're gonna add to this list, and we're gonna do it by simply let me just show you how I do it. I have another screening method that I use, which is my current new screener. It's not out yet, but it's gonna get out soon, and I'm gonna give everyone who already has access to my indicators access to this one when I do. And what happens here is I start with a time frame that is kind of relevant, and we already established like several time frames that we looked at. So for example, I look at the 2 hour here, and I see which coins look like they're pumping. Okay, I'm gonna keep the list that I wrote from Binance till the end, because I started with this one now here. So when you look at this, you start seeing that we have several different cycles on the market. So for example, now if you look at curve here, you see that this one here has like let me just show you this one here, curve. Okay, it has this gear up, and with it has several fake downs, and there are several others that look like that. So you have, for example, curve, you have RPL. So I'm gonna I'm gonna instantly check this one. Okay, so I'm gonna go to curve and go to the 2 hour time frame, and as you can see, this is here doing this gear up. Okay, which is usually something worth looking into. But before I do, as you know, I need to zoom out step by step to understand what's happening with this one. And when I do, it's not actually a coin that's looking good at all. Reason for that is that at the 10-day, for example, here it looks like this has some sort of a failed wave, which is this one, because it's pointing down. And you can't really see a clean gray curve, so you need to go to a higher time frame. So let's just go to the 2-day, and when you go to the 20-day, sorry, and when you go to the 20-day, you mark the top of this one like we discussed before. I don't want to keep repeating that. Okay, and instantly we go to the zoom in, which is a tenth of the time, which is the 2-day time frame. Okay, and there you can see that we had this fake up here and there, and now it's actually closing the gap, and for that we need to zoom in again. So we're going to the 4-hour time frame, and what does this show you? It shows you that actually it's not there yet. So what this analysis here, moving to the 10-day from the 1-day, and then seeing that the 10-day is not actually a good time frame to look at, which means that the 1-day is not really relevant, and the 2-day is not really relevant, and therefore the time frame that actually brought us here, which is the 2-day, the 2-hour, is as well not as relevant as the 4-hour. So here, for example, when we looked at this, we were looking at the 2-hour, and now we're looking at the 4-hour. We came to the conclusion that the 4-hour is more of a relevant time frame. If you can afford to take several trades, like you have, you're currently in a winning streak or something, then it would be very easy to just take a long and play this as a reversal, while placing your stop loss below swing low. If you want to be like safer and hit a higher probability, then you go to the 4-hour, and then you set your alert here like last time for curve crossing 20 or 15, somewhere in between. Let's just write 15 this time, and write yourself curve 2-day or even 20-day, 2-day, 4-hour, tap down, potential long. Okay, so now we have an alert for when the next time this one just taps down like this, and this is where we should be taking along. Okay, I'm not gonna go through everyone, but you have the same for RPL, and then when you move and look at the rest, this time frame is not telling much at the other coins here. So what we took from this as well is which time frame to look at on altcoins in general, because there will be several coins at least that look the same like curve. And as you know already, in the crypto market, what happens is you have like chunks of coins that move together. Even the majority moves together, so unless you're hitting like a lone runner or some coin that is in a cycle on its own, it is expected for several coins to do the same. And already when you look at this, you see them all looking similar. So from here, for example, you know that curve is the exception with another couple of coins, but still it makes you now investigate a different time frame on this screener. So we're looking now at the 4-hour time frame. Give me a minute. So what I'm going to be looking at is the 4-hour, and on the 4-hour here actually it shows that we are kind of in a local top on most coins. So we're gonna just hover here until we see something either that is faking upwards or showing like a reversal or showing a long entry. So for example here you have Dash. Based on this look alone it shows like a reversal, but people who know me know that I usually don't really trade this coin. And then when you look for example at Sand, this is looking like a potential local top. So if you zoom in here and go to the 4 hours straight, what you're going to see is this, which is currently looking like this wave is gonna break down. Okay, this is a very interesting pattern here. When you see this, usually what happens is, let me just show you, it looks like that. Like if you compare the current MTF, it looks like that, and then you have this last one here looking like it already peaked and now it's going to drop down. So when this happens, if you are going to trade based on this pattern here alone, it's a very easy pattern to trade. Contrary to other beliefs, while this is now on support, what this tells you is that the higher probability for this is to break down. Okay, so you could either wait for this to break down and then you take a trade, like when this retests and then goes back down, and then you can take a trade here at this place here with a tight stop loss, or you can just take this trade with a stop loss above the local top and then aim for this probably like that, and then you have yourself here a 2.5 RR trade. And at the same time, to confirm this, knowing what we know, you could zoom in another time to a tenth of this time frame, which is the 24-minute time frame, and then you could wait for this to go tap up again before you enter this. Okay, so you would enter the short on this tap up, because probably what this will do is it's gonna squeeze up again and then break down, if it's gonna play out. Like, so these are the possibilities if you are going to seek this trade. And of course, if it already like closes the gap in an hour or so, then it's not worth the trying. And then when you go back here on the screener and you look again, you have, of course, Mana is doing the same, because always you see these metaverse coins doing the same thing. Like for example, you have here Sand and you have AXS, but this is not same. This is not a same type of metaverse. But you have then Mana, and probably you're gonna have Gala doing the same. Okay, and when you look here, instantly what you see on a different cycle is AMP USDT. So when you look at AMP, for example, on the 4 hour, you're gonna see it looking like this is gonna probably push up. Why? Because you have the screen pointing upwards, and then you have this fake down. Okay, so if this has adequate volume, probably what's gonna happen is that it's gonna push up, and then instantly you can now zoom out. And when you do zoom out to the 2-day, because the 2-day is the zoom out of the 4 hour, what you can see is that this is actually probably pushing upwards, and this looks different than a normal fake up, because you could mistake this as a fake up. But when you see this do this structure where it does like that and then like that, and the same at blue, it's one way of actually pulling it all upwards, because then what's expected when this usually happens is that this green curve is doing like this very aggressive pull up. Okay, to understand and recognize these shapes, usually you need to spend some time looking at the MTF to see how these shape. Okay, so and interesting here, you can see that we had very visible tops here, and they were corresponding to local tops. Okay, and now when you want to zoom in again, which is this last wave for confirmation, what happens here is when you zoom back on the 4 hour with a different understanding, now you see that we had here these this first wave here down failed, but even if you're going to smoothen this and go, for example, to the 6 hour time frame, what you're gonna see is that this was a wave down and now we're in a wave up. When you have this wave up here, while this is actually like flat and doing this accumulative pattern here, if this has adequate volume, then it's kind of a nice trade to long this with a stop loss below the swing low. Again, if you can afford to take a trade at this stage, and then you can just target, if you zoom out to the 2 day, then you could just target that this correction is over, and then when you do that, let me just time here the beginning, use the fib retracement tool, and then either target something that is 0.382, but this is too much for me. So what I do is I target the next resistance, and for me the next resistance should be the previous support, so it should be somewhere here, and for that I'll be probably targeting 29% versus 9%, so that's a 3 RR. That's one way to do it. So again, this is one possible trade to take if you can afford to take several trades. Okay, and based on that here, you can see that this is probably gonna push up. Okay, but again, the key here is the volume, because low volume coins can simply fail and invalidate easily, so it's not really a safe trade, more like a risky one. And moving on to the next. You can see here we have several ones that look the same, like the one that was faking upwards. So we have here, for example, EOS, we have GMT. GMT is still like in the making. You can see here, this is actually like you have here instantly 3 coins that look the same, but in 3 different stages, because you have this one, which is GMT, the fake up is still in the making, EOS already starting to play out, and then H bar already played out, so which is really interesting. And so you can simply go to GMT here and start looking at what's actually happening to investigate it further. It looks like the one that we actually were talking about. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was sand, yeah. So it looks like sand and can be a similar trade to that. So what I do here, I move first on my watch list upwards. Give me a second. So when you draw these trend lines, it shows you that we are in a corrective pattern, and this corrective pattern currently is above. So if you remember, sand, for example, was already on the support, but this one is above the support, and it's showing weakness already. So what I do next is, because this one hasn't played out yet, I zoom in again. So I move to the 24-minute time frame, and I'm gonna set myself an alert on the next tap up. So what I'm looking for is for this to do something like that. Then I'm gonna probably enter a short with a tight stop loss. So I'm gonna set an alert here on the MTF crossing 80, and then write to myself GMT 4 hour 24-minute possible short entry. Okay, I don't need to go to a larger time frame, because actually this would be more like a scalp, so doesn't really matter even to look at the 2 day. But oh, Actually, it gives you more uh, conviction that this could actually like really drop, because now we have three time frames combination. So we have the 2 day showing this very weak fake up like that, and then when you zoom in on the 4 hour, you see this fake up looking like this reversal. Okay, which looks like this again. So what we did is we've seen this fake up on the 2 day, and then we have zoomed in until we saw this ideal stochastic wave reversal showing something like it. Maybe not as neat, but it still is identifiable. Okay, and if you want something smoother, then you can go to the 6 hour, which looks even smoother, and which makes you for the zoom in, you can either use the 24 or the 36 minutes. So even the 36 minute, which is the zoom in for the 6 hour, it shows like this is not really done yet, and I'm gonna even add an alert on this one as well. Okay, so now I'm gonna write to myself 2 day, 6 hour, 36 minute, tap up, and write even GMT at the beginning. Possible short entry. So this is what I forgot here to add the level. This is 80, and this is also 80, crossing 80. Okay, so now we know that this probably is gonna like either hover or continue to hover here, and then most probably gonna break. This is the look of a coin that is either just messing with us and is gonna go up, or a coin that's actually going to like die, literally drop hard, or do something that like a late squeeze down, which is going to be not really pretty and could be lucrative to short. Okay, so what this is gonna do, something like something like this, and break very hard down. But anyway, this candle is gonna close soon, so we're gonna see. So that's GMT, and then I keep doing the same. This can be endless, as you can see, because I have all the coins here on this watch list. I have 3 of them, and they're showing me I think about 300 and something coins, and very soon I'm gonna do it in a way that can show you all kinds of pairs as well, so it's gonna be multiples of that, and you will be able to paste your own pairs in the watch list. So it really saves you a lot of time. So then I'm gonna simply keep moving this fast, do a fast screen. I'm not gonna look at coins that look the same. For example, you have here Flux, you have several coins that look the same. I'm gonna look only at coins that look interesting, or against, or moving against this trend here, or on a cycle on their own. So for example, you have your Win is on a different cycle. If you look at all of these, you're gonna see that they're kind of all in a local top, but Win is in a local bottom, and it makes sense because Win actually was pumping yesterday. So when you go to Win here, you're gonna find that this was in a correction. Yeah, so this pumped here yesterday, and then it went down. So the thing about these, it also shows you which coin is in what stage. So it shows you what each coin is actually doing in terms of price action as well. So you can simply know which coins are pumping and which coins are correcting by simply looking at these. So and then you have something here like Meme, which is even looking worse based on that alone. And then you have, for example, now a coin that is looking completely different, which is showing like a gear up, which is NTRN, and this was one of the coins we saw on Binance when we looked at the watch list on Binance. So for example, here this one is a coin that you could try and target an entry for a corrective move upwards or an impulse upwards, depending on how you're looking at it. And again, guys, simply I do this much faster usually, because now I'm simply explaining. You just move this dotted line here to try and mark the start, and when the start is not as visible as this, you need to change the time frame. So for example, here on the 20 looks better, so this looks like it's already reversing. Okay, so if the waves and your other analysis, pattern analysis or whatever method you use, is okay with this, then you simply long it with a stop loss below swing low, and then you set your target. So I'm not gonna go into each one, but this could be like a small scalp as well, where you try and find yourself like a support to use, and then something like that. Then for the target you need to zoom out and simply use your fib extension, fib retracement tool, and go for a conservative target. Somewhere below these bottoms, so it's like a 2RR minus 2.5% or 5% for TP. Okay, so now I'm gonna quickly go over the coins that I first scanned on Binance, which are BNX and a couple of others. Let's just take a quick look at BNX. Looks like it's already pumping, and that one is one I kept actually opening on each of the previous streams. The reason for that was because it was dumping hard. So, and I had already, if you see here already, I had several drawings on the chart. I had already marked this as the wave. I had already marked the beginning at the top here, and then usually what you do is you start by zooming in, and when you do that, you see that this actually didn't give any entry at all. Why? Because it didn't like tap up and then back down and then back up, so you didn't get the entry. But you can see here that this actually gave a decent tap up before it dropped, so it gave a drop signal here. So what I would be doing here is simply set an alert and move on. So I'm gonna set an alert here when this is crossing 20, and write to myself, check BNX 1 day 2 hour for possible long. Next on my list is ZRO. So when you look at ZRO here, this is one of the top gainers as well. Okay, and this one is a relatively fresh coin, and this fresh coin here had, like most of the other fresh coins, it had this correction first, like this sell-off that kept getting smaller and smaller. So you had this sell-off here first, and then one breakup, and then another sell-off, and then another breakup, and then another sell-off. Okay, and then this one actually broke up much stronger, and this now looks like this is on the run, unless this is going to stop at the previous high. So what you should usually do when you see something like that is you need to do this one differently, because here you are actually identifying the waves based on the price action, not based on the MTF. So you need to identify the start of the wave, or this wave here, which is actually this lowest point here. So ideally you mark the start of that wave, and then when you start zooming in, you need to see. So for example, we were on the 2 hour time frame, and this wasn't an adequate time frame. Why? Because we want to see an MTF that starts at the bottom here. When I say it starts at the bottom, I mean that the green curve is at this bottom, so at this point. And since green here is only like that, this is not ideal, then we zoom in. When we zoom in here, now we get what we want. We get this starting here, but the issue here is that you have this going up and down, but still you can smoothen it in as a thought, I mean, or you can zoom out slightly. 90-minute is not doing it for us, so what we do here is we simply stick to the 1 hour. Okay, and when you stick to this one, you find that this already moved, so now you have to keep an eye on tap downs. So for me, this one is like gone. I'm not gonna do anything on it. It's gonna probably do something like that, and then another one. So this is where I would be targeting this. So I'm gonna just keep an eye on it, okay? Because this already ran, and I don't like to buy coins that broke out. So this already broke out here. Okay, but we simply move it on our watch list. This is what I do. I move it on the top of the watch list. So my watch list now has GMT, NTRN, and ZRO, and the ones that I discussed that were of interest, like SAND, for example. And now moving on to RAD, which was also on the Binance runners list. And this one is not looking interesting on this time frame. In fact, actually what's happening here is that this going against blue, so this is probably very like an indicator that this is gonna probably drop. It's not gonna push more. Yeah, it's not something that if you look at the previous streams, you're gonna see that this was of interest for me, but we missed this entry because last stream we were somewhere here, and I was hesitating whether I should enter or not, because I did not really like how this was very thin, like a thin pennant like that. But it was a local bottom, because if you go back in time here and take a look at this, you're gonna see that this was doing this shape, and usually you can simply enter this below current support like that, okay, and then target. This is like just me doing a case study on something that already ran, and then just target this last one, okay, last peak here, and 0.382, and this would give you like a 4.8 or even tighter, like 3% stop loss and 14% take profit. And then when you move the time here, you find that this actually would have played out very nicely. So that's RAD. Not gonna do anything about this, not even putting it in the watch list for now. And then moving on, we can see Lista, LISTA USDT, also one that I had my eye on, and I already shorted this one before. I shorted this top, if you remember. In one of my streams I shorted this top from here to, I think it was 7 or 8% down. And since I already had the work previously done here, this was also when you see that I had this vertical dotted line here like that, it shows simply that I was interested in timing this entry, but I missed this one and it moved up. But still, here I would be simply looking for the next tap down. So again, I'm gonna simply set an alert here and move on for this when it crosses 20. So I'm gonna write myself Lista 2 hour long reversal. Okay, you're not gonna find a lot of time frames for this one because it's relatively fresh. That's why I didn't zoom out. So I have this alert here now, and I'm gonna move this one up. on my watch list. Next one on my list is Unfied and BB. It's an old analysis. Yeah, so you can see now we have GMT alert triggered. Let's just take a look there while we're at it and then continue. Okay, so now you have this pushing upwards on the 24-minute time frame, and then when you go to the 4-hour, as we said before, it's actually looking stronger than it did, because now we have the blue one pulling upwards. So when you zoom in on this one, also another thing that looks like this has strength is the fact that you can see that gray and blue are close together. Like it's not like this one, but it's rather than it's showing strength on this local time frame. So what this looks like is that this has strength to do like one blow off top and then drop down. So when that happens, usually it's safer to wait for the next 24-minute tap up. So I'm gonna simply set an alert for myself here at 20, and I'm gonna write to myself set an alert at tap up. Okay, and then also I could just if you wanna understand this last wave here better, you can just zoom in, but now you're entering to a very small time frame and it gets less reliable. And this is exactly what I was saying here. When you look at the 2-minute time frame, which is the zoom in, you're seeing a very strong gear up, but it's a very small time frame, so it just tells you that this is not safe to be shorted. Like when you look at this 24-minute here and you're trying to target this, let me just mark this for you. You're trying to target this last wave, and then you go to the 2 minutes. What do you see here? You see something that looks like the beginning of a wave, not a wave that is actually reversing. So what you would want to see is something like that, where you would enter where this short entry is marked, but instead we are actually here on this one. And the first one, like this was the long entry here, and then you had the first fake the first overbought highlight. So here what I would be looking at is that this continues and does like that, okay, and then we would be entering somewhere here. That is why I actually am going to wait instead of enter. So this now is for GMT. So GMT is gonna be something I will keep open for myself even after this stream until I see this entry. Okay, and I'm gonna re-evaluate also at the daily close when I see what happens to this 4-hour, because if at the daily close this gap gets smaller and they just pull together, then I'm simply gonna strike off this trade. Also let us check when the 2-day is gonna close, because if the 2-day is also gonna close today, so when the 2-day closes I'm gonna have to re-evaluate whether this fake up is still there or not. So this is still something I'm gonna re-evaluate at the daily close, which is in 1.5 hour. Now moving back to what I had open, which was Unfi. Sorry, I opened the wrong one. And then going back to the time frame I had open, which was the 10-day. When I see something like this, I simply start by marking this beginning here, because now this is the wave in question, which is this one, okay, and so I mark the start here, and then I go to the 1 day. It's not very neat because it goes up and down, so let's just go instead to the 2 day, and you can see here that this is actually gearing up, but it's not giving entries. It's looking different because here, let me just get you this again for reference, just a second. When you take a look at this, okay guys, we're gonna have to interrupt this again because of this alert that we set. Yeah, so this here had this pull up and also showing strength, so I'm just gonna straight up ignore this one. And as I said, that if you go back to the stream at the beginning where I analyzed Bitcoin, I told you this is not a spot to short, but for the ones that try to short every local top, you need to zoom in on the 18-minute. And why is this not one that I short? Because it's not reversing, it's not showing signs of reversal. Doesn't mean it's not gonna go down. It could without showing signs, but when it shows signs, it's safer. And instantly when I looked, I saw the same thing, which is that these two were moving together on the 18 minutes, so it's showing strength, so it's not of interest to me. Now going back to Unfi, where we left this, what happens here is we are seeing on the 2 day this gear up, but it's not like this one where we have these fake downs. Here we didn't have any fake down. Maybe on the 3 day you're gonna find one fake down, like for example here you found this tap here on this one, okay, down. But on the 2 day it's showing like a gear up where green is gearing up, but it's not showing fake down. So again, I'm just gonna set myself here an alert on the 2 days when it's crossing 20, and then I'm gonna check Unfi for long 2 day tap down. Okay, but still, for those who try and play each wave or ride each wave, who can afford to, I mean, you could then simply mark the start of that wave and then zoom in again. And as you can see, this was like this wave here, which is this one, and then it corrected downwards, and then you had this fake up here, and then the gap closed, which gave you the entry here, and then it pumped the 20% that it did today. And even with this one, you could simply just add an alert on the 4-hour time frame on a tap down crossing 20. Okay, for Unfi 4-hour tap down. Okay, for a possible entry. Now moving on to BB. That was an old. I think this one we closed at BE. Let's just go to a higher time frame. Yeah, this one is a relatively fresh coin, but you can still see gray and blue curves. So what you know here is now that this was a wave down, this one, okay, which was corresponding to that one, and now you're in a wave up. Okay, whether this is finished or not, again now you move from the price action to the MTF, and so now you mark the start and then you go to the 4-hour here, or even the 6-hour to have it align better, like that. And now there's nothing much you can do. Okay, why? Because this is now showing a top here, and it's showing a local top that is bullish, like it's not diverging, so there's nothing actually to be done here. Even if you zoom in on 36 minutes, you can see there's nothing much you can do. So what can you do here? You can simply again set an alert crossing and simply type BB potential long scalp tap down 6 hours. Okay, and you set this at 20, create, and we move this at the top of our watch list, below the ones that were relevant. Uh, so the last three ones that we're gonna be looking at are Blue-Zel and REI and NTRN, okay, which are the top losers of today. So you have Blue-Zel USDT, and then here you can see this one dropped a lot. Zooming out, this is actually a coin that should not be touched because it invalidated a fake down. So for example, here we had this fake down here, and then it pulled up, and then it invalidated this whole scenario, and so I'm not gonna touch this because it's really unclear for me. It's not the shape I like to trade. So moving forward to REI, wait, yep, not really sure which time frame I drew these on. So first you go to the 2-day, and as we said, this is probably already on its move up, or it's gonna pull down and then back up. So I'm gonna, either way, first before I move on, I'm gonna set an alert here on the 2-day on 20, just write REI 2-day tap down, and then I'm gonna zoom in on the 4-hour or 6-hour first. You can see here this is looking like a divergence, and then it continues. Okay, and if you go to a higher time frame to try and align this better, looking like the same. So for example, here is the start now, and now this is looking like, if you're trying to time an entry on this correction, then you should zoom in again to the zoom in time frame of the 8 hours, so it's the 48 minutes, which is aligning with the top here. Okay, then you set yourself an alert here when this taps down. So and write to yourself, REI 48, sorry, we start with the 8, with the 2-day 8-hour 48 minutes possible long. Okay, so what I didn't set at 20. Okay, so what this does for you is that when this taps down, we're gonna have an entry, possible entry, depending on the waves and how this looks. Okay, and now moving to the last one, which is NTRN, which is also a coin that was in all previous streams. Yeah, this I'm not sure if I posted this here today or another day. Yeah, this is actually the long that I posted at the beginning of this stream, and I think this was we'd have to go back to on this stream to see, but I was talking about this being a potential long, and then we set this like that. Sorry, the time was long today, so I forgot that I charted this one. So and this actually shows you in real life why this method in analyzing these waves and subwaves is actually very nice and accurate, because now if you would have entered this with a large position, you would simply now set your stop loss at break even. Now it passed above it, unless you don't want to risk ruining the trade. When this simply retests, you can then move the stop loss upwards, but not at break even, so move it up like this. And then usually what I do is I then start watching the trade on a smaller time frame to see what's happening here. So now you can see this is a wave up, and now it's faking down, so it's probably gonna still have juice to push upwards. And then when I look at this time frame here, and I see that this is now starting to slow down, which is not the case yet. This is my criteria for taking profit earlier. than the planned profit. Okay, so it's nice to see something manifest while we are still streaming, because I discussed this earlier. And this is pretty much it, guys. So I hope this was helpful. We have set ourselves several coins to look at. I posted this trade just as an example. Maybe someone took it, I'm not sure. But either way, we learn from each one. And this is what I'm going to be looking at. I hope this stream was useful. If anyone has any questions, you can ask them in the group. If you guys want to try out the MTF after seeing how I use it, make sure to just send me a message on Discord. I'd be happy to give you a trial and guide you through it. And yeah, just please, if you like this video, just hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to support me, and interact with me. Tell me what you think. It just helps, so please do it if you can. And have a great evening, everyone, and thank you for watching. Okay, bye bye.